Hello everybody, 'tis I, the Rumpled One. Time magazine for July the 1st, year 2013. Cover story, how service can save us. Veterans are pitching in back home and helping themselves too. I think I made a movie how it's really disturbing that more soldiers are dying from suicide than they are from the battlefield. It's like we all know something's wrong. Just the problem is that the people that can fix it refuse to fix it. It's just that simple. But we all know something's wrong, and in most cases we know what's wrong and how to fix it. Okay, let's dive in. Okay, the conversation here, they are talking about the geeks who leaked last week, and about whether or not these informers are really bad guys or not. Well, we all know the government's the bad guy, but the government's in power, so they can say they're the good guys and say the good guys are the bad guys. I mean, that's what Orwell taught us in 1984. You know, those who control the present control the past, and those who control the past control the future. Briefing page. Let's see, Justin Rose, 32-year-old English golfer, won the U.S. Open, his first major championship. And Tiger Woods shot 13 over par, his worst score ever in a major tournament. I like this quote. Being called a traitor by Dick Cheney is the highest honor you can give an American. This is Edward Snowden. That's pretty good, especially after we know what old big dick gangster Cheney did. Remember ghetto physics? Let's see, 6.18 millimeters is the thickness of Y's new smartphone, 20% thinner than the iPhone 5. Let's see. 27% increase in child fatalities in Afghanistan in the first third of 2013 over the same period in 2012. They really put numbers on everything. It says, we have not said that we possess chemical weapons, nor have we said that we do not possess them. That's coming from the Syrian president, Bashar Assad. 5,800%. That's the jump in Amazon sales of the Centennial Edition of George Orwell 1984 in the wake of revelations that the NSA collects data on millions of Americans. Maybe people are going to wake up, start smelling the tyranny. What do you think? Oh, let's move on. Lightbox. Chinese authorities display bear paws on June 15th after 213 were seized from 2 Russian smugglers in the Chinese region of Inner Mongolia. Some in China consider the paws a delicacy. Question is, why was there an odd number? Is there a 3-legged bear out there somewhere? Let's see. The Taliban open a door to peace and angry Karzai shuts it. Afghan president, huh? I don't know. Here's something that's kind of interesting. You know, where children can't get an education. Let's see, they said 57 million lack classroom access. Okay, 10.5 million in Nigeria. Pakistan has 5.4 million. Ethiopia 1.7 million. India 1.6 million. And the Philippines 1.4 million. The Philippines 1.4 million? That's such a small place, that many kids. What's going on over there? Let's see, 129 pounds is the average annual per person beef consumption in Argentina. 129 pounds of beef a year. In 1956, oh wait, I'm sorry. It says down from 222 pounds in 1956. That's almost a 100-pound difference. It says right now Americans eat 57.5 pounds. Yeah, I believe it. A little over a pound a week. That makes sense to me. I don't know. I think I eat more pork and chicken. Don't eat that much beef. Hamburgers and steaks. You guys see me grilling. Okay, religion. Pope Francis offered his blessings to thousands of leather-clad bikers on June 16th for Harley-Davidson's 110th anniversary. And now the selling of Obamacare. Will Americans buy a plan they don't love? Let's see, we're talking about curbside composting comes to New York City. Let's see, washing windows. Microsoft takes another crack at its operating system upgrade. I don't know, a friend of mine bought a computer with Windows 8 on it. I don't like it. It took me a few minutes to figure it out. I got a degree in computer science. Should be intuitive. But the thing is, it's a computer, but it's more like a smartphone. You got to get past that screen they have, then it starts to look like the Windows we all either love or hate. But it's like, let computers be computers. But the thing is, these smartphones are computers, so. But I didn't like that interface. Fear the burns while U.S. sunscreens are overshadowed. What to look for on new sunscreen labels. It says SPF 50 plus, still technically allowed, but the FDA is investigating whether any SPF above 50 really provides extra protection. Do you want to believe the FDA? Okay, milestones. Ralph Graves, the vital editor of Life magazine, he died. Michael Hastings, 33, author and journalist, he died in a one-car crash. Said his 2010 Rolling Stone article, The Runaway General, led to the firing of General Stanley McChrystal, the top U.S. commander in Afghanistan. Tweet is now defined by the Oxford English Dictionary. Let's see. Anything else? Now let's move on. Has Jeb's time come? Gene's family history and shifting demographics explain why another Bush may run in 2016. You know, we could have Bush versus Clinton in 2016. It's possible. My fellow Americans, we really need an uprising at the polls. And re-elect no one. We really need to do that. Just throw out all the incumbents. That would send a clear message that we the people have had enough, we're mad as heck, and we're not going to take it anymore. If only it could convince enough people. Just that one small change, re-elect no one. Do you realize what that could do for this country? Might get back on the back on the track we were on. I guess some people don't want to be on that track, like Obama. the Constitution's some old document that just impedes his powers. Can service save us? It just might. By helping return troops regain their sense of purpose, veteran groups are proving that public service is therapeutic. I mean, the problem is, once again, the government. The government knows what needs to be done. I mean, we've got veterans waiting up to a year to get treatment and services. I mean, you put these people in harm's way. They serve their country, and yet that same government that puts them in harm's way turns their back on them. Once again, we know what the problem is, but the people that have the power to fix it won't fix it. See, I'm reading a book, and I'll be doing a book review on it soon, that talks about that, you know, most accidents basically aren't really accidents. It's the failure of the people in power to prevent them in the first place, because they're preventable. And what's interesting is some people in this country, wait a minute, something's wrong with this picture. 80% favor voluntary, 22% favor mandatory. Do the math. Something's wrong with that picture. Yeah, here's an ad here. It says, less than 1% of our population is fighting our country's wars, so the promises we make to our soldiers must be kept. Now it's a year-long wait for them to hear back from the VA. We must fix that. It's on us. This is by Rachel. I can't make out her last name. But I mean, we should hold our senators, our representatives, and the president. I mean, for this alone, somebody should be drawn and quartered. I mean, that's just wrong. I mean, actually, the veterans should take up arms and make it right. In fact, I was reading something on the internet today about violence as a last resort. See, sometimes violence is the only resort, because that's the only thing that works. And it should never necessarily be a last resort, because if you come with violence too late, you might be the one who's dead. And you see, violence is only violence to those who don't want to see it, because those in power say a violent uprising. Meanwhile, they use force to put down that uprising. But see, they call what they do force. But what the other people do, that's violence. You see, that's, once again, that's Orwell. That's doublespeak. A turn in Tehran. A rare visit to Iran during a surprising election reveals a national eager to be heard. See, all this stuff, we should just, keep our nose out of other people's business and clean up our own backyard. I wonder how many people feel that way. What would the world be like if we just left the rest of the world alone and took care of our own? What do you think would happen? I mean, would anything really change? Would it really get that much worse? Think about that. Don't just do a knee-jerk reaction. Really ponder that. The face of Buddhist terror. There's a lot of Buddhists that are, or I guess some Buddhists are anti-Muslim. It says it's a faith famous for its pacifism and tolerance. But in several of Asia Buddhist majority nations, monks are exciting bigotry and violence, mostly against Muslims. There's an interesting quote in here. It says, quote, taking care of our own religion and race is more important than democracy, end quote, says Wairathu. And that made me think. I pondered that. And if you think about it, that happens a lot, especially in religion. Think about the Amish, the Mennonites. They have very strict code. I mean, they tell you what kind of buttons you wear and how long your beard is and how it's supposed to be trimmed. I think I did a video on that. And if you don't do that, then you get shunned. People will turn their back on you. It's like you don't exist and you have to leave the community. It's basically their way or the highway. There's no democracy there. But for them it works. And if you think about it, if we took that to a national level, in a way, that's what our government's doing with all this spying on Americans and wanting to be able to kill civilians and do all the things they're doing, taking away our rights. Because they're basically taking care of themselves at our expense. But that's a very interesting quote. Because to them, they're doing the right thing. Maybe to us, they're doing the wrong thing. But then again, it gets back to that age-old problem of one group or individual trying to force its will and beliefs on another group or individual. So, is it bad? Well, we might say you don't have to be violent, but is it okay to kick people out? You have to wonder about that. See, I only believe what I believe because that's what I was taught. Of course, I've changed some beliefs over time. You know, as an adult, I can pretty much put 2 and 2 together for myself. I don't have to listen to others to come up with my own beliefs. Empirical evidence, experience has taught me a lot. And I also realized that in some cases there is no right, quote unquote, right or correct answer. It's just what is. It's what works. It's like I said, if I'd been born in a place where cannibalism was okay, you know what's for dinner. So, of course, once again, we would frown upon that, but that's only because we grew up with different values in a different land, different country. But like I said, it's always going to be red ants versus the black ants. There's always going to be a battle on terra firma, that's landmass, when it comes to people. Okay, moving on, the pop chart culture section. Is there anything worth talking about here? Oh, Miss Utah, Marissa Powell, I guess she botched a question telling judges that the U.S. needs to create education better when the question was about unequal pay for women. Those beauty pageants are pretty funny. And then we've got the album title, Ego Meter. And I guess the worst offense is Kanye West, Yeezus. I guess that was a play on Jesus or something. Okay, let's see. Let's just move on. Oh, here's one thing. I didn't know that Justin Timberlake now is a part owner of MySpace. Okay, moving on, moving on. Okay, coddle models, cars that can steer themselves at a dealer near you. I don't know if that's such a good idea or not. I guess in some cases maybe. You've got collision mitigating braking, adaptive cruise control, and lane keeping aid. So they say if you change lanes with no turn signal that the vehicle can steer them back to the center. I guess that's in case people sleep and the car starts to drift. That might be a good thing. Okay, moving on. 10 questions. Mavis Staples of the Staple Singers. I'll take you there, right? This is kind of telling. Wasn't there also a lot of discipline is the question. It says, oh yeah, my grandmother gave me switches because I was singing blues in the school when I was 6 years old. She got one of my legs and every lick she said, you don't sing blues in this family. You sing church songs. Well, you see, nowadays CPS would be called in. The grandmother would be probably put behind bars, and kids would be separated from their family and just be all kind of hell to pay. But some people go, well, that's child abuse. Other people go, oh no, that's discipline. That's beating the devil out of them. Once again, gotta think it's that age-old question rearing its ugly head once again. Anyway, that's Time Magazine, July 1st, 2013. And some people see me do these reviews on the Time Magazine. They're like, you read Time Magazine? Like, how could you? Are you crazy? Why would you read this rag? Well, the thing about Time Magazine, well, like I said, number one, I'm getting it for free, so I don't mind reading it. But the thing about it is that it kind of, gives me an idea of what's going on all over the globe and sometimes, about the country here. Since I don't watch TV that much, I don't get TV out here. So it's one way of staying in touch. Sure, I can, look at the internet. But every now and then I learn something I didn't know, like that thing about the LiDAR. I didn't know what that was, and I read about that in Time Magazine. So yeah, I read it. I mean, do I believe everything I read in this thing? Of course not. But what it might do is, it might put me on a path of learning. So if they say something, I go check it out. Something that most people don't do. Something I would suggest that you do. You don't believe what you hear or read. You check it out. You can either check it out through research or you can check it out through experimentation. But you check it out. Don't just believe what others tell you, including me. So anyway, yes, I do read Time Magazine. Not ashamed of it. And if you don't like it, don't read it. But it's just that simple. Oh, one other thing. I'd like to thank everybody for viewing and commenting. I do appreciate it. And I guess something happened. I noticed I lost a bunch of subscribers because when I was away, the videos stacked up, and I think I uploaded about 12 videos one day, and I guess somebody got mad because I was blowing up their inbox. So I'm sorry, but I only get into town and upload, 1, 2, or 3 times a week. So if they stack up, I upload them. So I apologize if you feel like I'm blowing up your inbox, but I guess that's why you can choose whether or not to subscribe to me and whether or not you want to watch my videos and listen to what I have to say and what I have to show. So once again, for those of you who stick around and watch and listen, I appreciate it, really do. And I love the comments, even if you don't agree with me, because that's how I learn, by finding out, opposing views. So hope the rest of you hang in there, stick with me, and If you don't, well, that's okay too. Thanks again.